What was that?
I went to the reaffirm our friendship.
Welcome to WCU Entertainment Review. I'm Jimmy, and this is Dylan. He's like somebody who doesn't show up when he's sick. He doesn't matter. And no, I'm not letting it go.
Bitter. So
For
bitter.
shame. For shame. But we are going to send it over to the green screen with us to talk about the Wii U and The Legend of Zelda. Welcome back to the green screen. I am Jimmy here with Dylan. We just talked to you. Now, Dylan, today we're going to talk about the delay of Legend of Zelda on the Wii, or the Wii U. And to start this, we've got to kind of talk about the history of Nintendo.
All right. Nintendo was a Japanese company that originally made board games and like kind of crafts kind of stuff.
Skip all that part. Here's what really happened. See, in the 1983, Atari kind of had created a big giant bomb on the video game industry. So Nintendo was the one that basically saved it. There probably wouldn't be a video game industry today if there wasn't for Nintendo.
Console video game industry.
Yeah, console video game. And what happened was, you know, they had the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, and then they had the Wii. And the Wii was a giant hit. It basically created this giant, you know, demand for this system because it was the first interactive video game system and everybody wanted to play it. And unfortunately, what kind of happened is they rushed out a new system called the Wii U.
Yeah, they were trying to compete with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. And the Wii U was kind of a stopgap measure to keep Nintendo relevant, but they didn't go far enough to keep themselves relevant.
To put it in perspective, they swung and missed. See, what happened was they created a system with a lot of technology that was basically not really useful to a lot of developers because Nintendo already has a pretty rocky history with third-party developers.
They're stingy when it comes to giving out the ability to, oh, you can't make games because it doesn't fit this criteria, it doesn't use these mechanics. Nintendo forces third-party developers to use the mechanics in their systems.
And the reason the Wii U has kind of failed is because of stuff like that. And, you know, I was watching a video yesterday on YouTube by a guy I believe called The Game Theorist.
Yeah, I know about them.
It was an interesting video because basically he was comparing the Virtual Boy to the Wii U.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what the Virtual Boy is, it was this really bad idea that Nintendo had in about 1995. It was supposed to be a virtual reality video game system. And a lot like the Wii U, it used a technology that most third-party developers couldn't use, and even Nintendo developers didn't really know how to use. And it basically was a colossal disaster, and the Wii U is becoming a colossal disaster for Nintendo. And, you know, 5-10 years from now, if Nintendo's next system bombs, they may become Sega.
Yeah.
Where Sega used to be a console company, have now just become a lousy video game company. And yes.
We went on this rant, though, to talk about how Nintendo delayed The Legend of Zelda, which is kind of one of their showboat.
But that's kind of their problem, where there's not a lot of games for this system. And, you know, Legend of Zelda is a perfect example of this, where, you know, it's Nintendo likes to really use their characters. You see Mario and basically do everything from being a doctor to a hotel guy to
being in a fighting game,
being a go-kart driver. But the point is, one of the reasons this system has failed is a weak launch title. And a lot like the Virtual Boy, for example, they only ended up having 18 US title releases because there was just no games available. And this system has the same problem, where a lot of developers don't know how to create games for it, and then only stuff Nintendo creates gets released, and that creates the bigger problem of, well,
what's the point?
What's the point of buying this stuff? And the biggest thing, and this is just from a business aspect, because I'm a business major, and I think it's kind of important to make this point, that they missed the goal where they didn't realize the Wii audience is not the same audience they were trying to sell this system to. And what happened with the Wii is it was good for the average gamer.
It was a very family-oriented console. But the Wii U, you need Mario, you need Zelda, you need Metroid games, you need...
And what happened was with the Wii, the original Wii, is a lot of people bought it, and while they may have had just a huge number of sales, it became kind of like a dustbin for a lot of people because it's that thing you play for
maybe 1 or 2 hours a month.
1 or 2 hours a month, and it just kind of sits there. Whereas the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were just, you know, constantly played, and you have that problem now where the Wii U doesn't know what audience it's trying to go after. It's not going to hit. It's too complicated for the average gamer, for the average gamers. But it's, you know, doesn't have enough titles for the hardcore gamers.
And on the theme of lessons learned, let's talk about lessons we've learned from movies in the movie section.
I guess we can do that, but we'll have to send it back to the desk with us.
They can see us over there.
No, they can't. We're standing right here.
You're breaking the illusion.
It's meta. Well, Dylan, that was nice, especially when you cut me off over there.
I tried.
So what we're going to do is we're going to send it over to the movie panel to talk about movies.
And the lessons we've learned from them.
The kids' movies, that is, not the older movies, because those are lessons we don't need to know. And welcome to the movie panel. I'm Jimmy with Dylan, Courtney, and Erica, and today we're talking about lessons we learned from kids' movies, aka we couldn't find anything interesting to talk about. So, what we're going to talk about today is movies that we watched as children that gave us lessons for our lives to live by. Now first, I'm going to pass it to the brainchild of this idea, Erica.
Okay, well, the first lesson I learned when I was little was if your parents are both dead, you can either be a superhero or you can be a princess.
It's true. That's true. What about
Two
you,
jobs.
The lesson I learned was don't feed it after midnight. That's a very important lesson, I feel.
It's true. Courtney?
My lesson comes from The Little Mermaid. Real life truth right here, kids. Read every contract you're given, the terms and conditions, even iTunes, because you never know, a sea witch might take your voice.
That's how we got tricked into this.
Yeah.
It's true. I gave him the contract. Now, lessons I learned. Let's see. First and foremost, this is very true. If you and your three brothers learn karate, you can stop any home invader. If you're in a Disney movie, your parents will die.
And if they aren't dead, they're not your parents.
That's true. If you have a horrible life, you're poor, your parents are mean, your stepchildren are mean to you, your siblings are mean to you, all you need to do is wait for some dude to give you a shoe.
No, you need to look pretty, then some man will come and give you a shoe.
Or go to the woods.
Yeah.
Or have crazy animals talk to you, not showing signs that you're mentally disabled, but showing signs that these people love you. And they will build you a dress, get this big pumpkin stagecoach, which nobody ever questioned. Where do you get a pumpkin stagecoach?
Magic.
Yeah, it was
Magic.
the
It
fairy
was the fairy
godmother.
godmother.
Yeah.
The fairy godmother did it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
If you ever need anything in life, just make a wish on a star or a fairy godmother, because it's just going to be like Tinkerbell and dink.
Or you might have
And,
magic tears.
Oh, magic tears?
Yeah,
magic tears.
Or if you are eating or drinking something you don't know where it came from, stop, because you might get really, really tiny or become really, really large from Alice in Wonderland.
If it's Friday, you have to worry about switching bodies with your parents.
Yeah.
Or
That
a
happened to
crazy
me
guy
once.
with a machete murdering you. But that's not a kid's movie. That's just Life of Ice.
Oh, you wash it on, then wash it off.
That's true.
That's one that's taken me a little bit to take to heart.
It's true. And you always sweep the leg.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any more of these stupid things, or can we call this segment a do?
Well, one last one. You might be the poorest girl in Russia, but for all you know, you could be the lost Grand Duchess.
That is not true. Her body was
Yeah,
burned
it was.
alive.
No, no,
It
she was
it
shot
was.
by the Soviets.
But this
Yeah, and they
happened.
burned
This
her body.
happened
She was just
before
dead.
they found her remains.
They
So-
knew about that back in the 30s.
Yeah, but they found the remains with it was like, oh, here are the parents' remains, but we don't really know which one's which. We're going to assume she's not dead, but she was clearly dead. But
From childhood movies to Soviet Union history. Let's get horrifying and dark.
That's how I knew about communism.
and this is how we end the segment because that's how we roll.
Learning things.
Let's send it back to being Dylan. Well, Dylan, that was insightful. Not really, but what we're going to do next is send it over to TV, where we are going to talk about the Justin Bieber roast on Comedy Central.
Do we really?
I know I did have a strict no Justin Bieber policy on this show, but to make fun of him, we'll do it anyway. So let's send it to us and the rest of the panel. And guys, so we're back in the TV panel to talk about my least favorite person in the world, Justin Timberlake.
Bieber.
Wait, didn't you mean Bieber?
Close enough.
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing. Anyway,
They're all named Justin.
for those of you who don't know, Justin Bieber had his little roast last night or 2 nights ago on Comedy Central with, people like Snoop Dogg, Martha Stewart, some celebrities that nobody really knows.
All relevant comedians.
Shaq, who was just, man, what a target he was.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sometimes I didn't know if it was the roast of Shaq or
Yeah.
the roast of Bieber.
If you're
It
gonna
was
be,
him or Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
honestly.
yeah, Snoop Dogg. By the way, Snoop Dogg needs to look, dude, like, I agree. I forget who said it. I think it was Hannibal Buress, but he said, he's like, you are 40 plus years old. What are you doing with your life?
home.
You're
irrelevant.
His hair was like sinking back to his head, and it's just like your hairline's gone. Cut the dreads, put on some decent clothes, and let's call it a day.
Speaking of Hannibal Buress, who is honestly probably one of the funniest people in comedy right now, he probably dropped the biggest truth bomb about this whole roast. He said to Bieber, he was like, you know, this is the stupidest thing ever because everyone still hates you. Like, well, that basically is what he told him.
They supposedly cut out where he said, he did say when he was talking, he's like, the only reason I'm here is because it's good career opportunity.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But they also said that they cut out a part where he basically straight up said, this is a fake attempt by you to get people to come back to your side because, as everyone knows, Justin Bieber has been a colossal jerk in the last 2 years.
He's in some hot water.
He did, I mean, I feel like he did it to, I guess, get better publicity, but it's not a publicity problem for him. It's just an attitude problem. Like,
well, it's like,
he is just a horrible person, so when you put
I don't want to
that,
say
like,
he's
him
horrible.
He's a horrible person.
He's
So
a young, stupid person. Let's phrase it like that.
When you put someone like that in a roast, they're not going to be talking about like your career highs and lows. They're just going to be talking about all the stupid things that you did.
Which is what happened
in the past 2 years.
And I really felt like they weren't very hard on him because I've seen all the Comedy Central roasts. You go back to like Charlie Sheen, they hit him hard. They hit him hard. They hit like Jeff Foxworthy hard when they did his. Yeah. Pamela Anderson took a beating, and you know they did like a ton of they did some funny jokes. It was kind of like Roseanne Barr when they did hers. Like there wasn't that many mean jokes because I feel like there's always that point where they're like, if it's a really big name, they're afraid to take them off. And Justin Bieber's like probably the biggest name they've ever had. Like I mean James Franco just last year they really hit that dude hard. And like my favorite joke from that one is where Jeff Ross said 127 hours is how much time his grandmother had left on Earth as she was sitting in the crowd. But that's a roast.
Yeah,
that's how you get a roast. No. But the point is like they were kind of light on him
because he has nothing there. He has no history.
There's no content.
Yeah, he has no career.
Still too young.
He had, like, what was he, like, he just became relevant 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So
and he's been in
there was
one
nothing
movie.
for them to really go back on to make fun of.
And basically his career is like, the thing about Justin Bieber is he's more hype than actual success, because I think people forget the fact that his music is not a big success, like, chart-wise. Like, he started having some hits, like, when his last album, but from my research, not that I'm listening to Justin Bieber, but if I was, shut up, I have my reasons.
Are you lying to yourself about this?
No, I've never listened to
Are you coming out as a believer?
He definitely is. This is where he makes that statement.
That he loves
Hey, as the executive producer, I have the power to cut all you off this show, so
We signed a contract, remember?
But the
Someone read the terms and
point I'm making is that with Justin Bieber, like a lot of his music is not really popular. It's, you know, he has a demographic, and that's basically what kind of
9-year-old girls.
But
that was the majority of the jokes about his demographic.
And like jail.
And that's the funny. Well, that's the funny thing. Like, you know, someone even said like, you know, they made a reference to his fans going to One Direction. Like, like that's his problem. Like his fans are in that age group where like, yeah, you're cute when you're like, you know, the little 11-year-old kid, but when you start becoming a 18-year-old, nobody wants to deal with you.
And you look like you're just really confused as to how to dress.
Yeah, he just looked dirty, and it looked like his mom dressed him kind of like
he needs a bath and a shower and like maybe like
to go through a car wash or something.
He needs to shave. He had like that poop stash growing on his face.
Why does he look like he's been in prison, by the way, with all the tats?
Because he's trying to, because he's probably like, he's like a 5', 11-year-old boy, and he's trying to look tough, but it's not working.
Like he's
Which
got,
they also
like,
made fun
a
of that,
cross
too.
and like other crazy stuff.
Yeah, and the thing that's just, the person I think really got hit the most was the fact that he left a monkey in Germany.
Yeah.
Like that just kept coming up, like which is like, yeah, it was horrible, but like he's done worse stuff than that.
Yeah, he punched his neighbor or something,
which I mean, why don't we kind of like wrap this segment up with kind of like talking about our favorite roasters of the whole thing. I would say Natasha Leggero was really funny. Mm-hmm. The guy from Saturday Night Live had some really funny jokes. Yeah. Even though he got some gas from the crowd. Martha Stewart, wow.
That was like,
she's the
MVP. Out of left field. She was great.
Yeah.
I was entertained by Shaq just because of all the flack Shaq got. It was funny to watch Shaq get roasted alive.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I would also say Kevin Hart he was really good.
Yeah.
He was good.
Because he's like, everyone gives him like a bunch of like stuff because he's like always on camera and everything, and he's like, but he was really good at like bouncing between everybody. He really seemed like he was having a fun time with it. So I thought that was a lot of fun. But overall, I think I'm going to reinstate the no Justin Bieber policy for this show.
Can we have a vote on that? No Justin Bieber? Aye.
Aye.
I think we have a consensus.
I believe we have a consensus. So, since
He believes. He said it.
this is the show for the week, I'm not a believer. But since we're running out of time and I have to take the class, I think we're going to wrap up for the week. So, does anybody have anything important to say? And that shows the brain power of this group.
I'm just hoping Justin Bieber goes away forever.
Yeah.
We can all dream.
Just go back to Canada. I think it's better for all of us.
Go to
If only
northern
you believe.
Canada.
That's the only thing I believe in when it comes to him.
You're making me not want to say the word
Believing.
believe anymore.
I
Just
know.
as a word.
I believe. But anyway, we're going to end the show there. And we will see you next week.
Have a good one.